everybody, it's your girl Callback Christina. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. And if you have subscribed, what's up? I have something very important to share with you guys. And this isn't easy for me to say at all. I wanted to get on here and say this for people who look like me, who may think that it can't happen to them. Here goes. I was recently tested for COVID-19 and I tested positive. When I got my results, I thought that there was a glitch in the system. I kept refreshing and locking out, locking in, locking out, locking in, hoping that it was just a mistake or a glitch. And it wasn't. Like, every time I logged back in, it said positive. So let me backtrack. Let me tell you my story. First of all, I never thought that I had coronavirus. The week of Thanksgiving, I had come down with a little cold. It started with my throat being a little scratchy, and then I had a slightly runny nose, and I was sneezing just a little bit, coughing just a little bit, and I was more tired than usual, and I had chills. And I was just thinking, well, the temperature dropped in Los Angeles, it's a little cooler outside, and I ride my bike to work and from work to home because I work so close to where I live. I just assumed that it was a wind cold, so I didn't think that, oh, maybe I have the coronavirus. I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell, and I didn't have a fever. So the last thing on my mind was that I had coronavirus because I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell. But a few nights that week, same week of Thanksgiving, a few nights that week, I did have night sweats. So I was just thinking wow, my comforter might be super hot. Maybe I need to sleep with the air on, or maybe I need to sleep with the comforter off. I never put two and two together. It started with the scratchy throat, and I had chills. So when I was at work, I would be hot, and then I'd be cold once I cut the air on. And then when I cut the air off, I'd be hot again. So I kept alternating between hot and cold. I had night sweats. I didn't really have a cough. I did have a fever because I had my temperature checked every day at work, and every time I stepped into a store. They have an automatic temperature checker, and every time my temperature was checked, it always came back normal, 97, 98, normal. I had a loss of appetite. I wasn't as hungry as I usually am. There was sometimes when I felt like laying down when I know I should have had more energy. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm tired and I just want to go home and lay down while I'm at work. And I'm just I like what I do. I like what I do. I like who I work with. So I just could not understand why I felt like laying down. However, the same week, one of my roommates was sick and she was coughing all in the bathroom, and it was like a like a hacking cough, and I didn't know what was going on. I was she got that Rona, she got that cough. She eventually went to the doctor, and the doctor told her that she had strep throat. So she alerted all of us, her other roommates, and strep throat is contagious, and all it takes is a little droplet to get in your nose, eyes, mouth, whatever, and then you got strep throat too. A strep throat is also a symptom of the coronavirus, apparently. So for Thanksgiving, I didn't go out. I spent Thanksgiving by myself. Luckily, I was off that day because I just wasn't feeling my best. I wasn't really feeling sick, but I wasn't feeling my best, okay? So I stayed home and spent Thanksgiving by myself. The next day, I felt way better. I was just I just needed a day off of work just to relax and not do anything. And then LA shut down. Fortunately, my job was still open, and my boss announced to the entire team that everybody needed to start getting tested for COVID-19 every 2 weeks. I was just like, okay, no big deal. You know, I scheduled my test and I went December 5th. December 5th, which is about 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So after I had like my little cold, I went to go get tested on December 5th, and I got my results back that Tuesday. I believe it was December 8th, and my results were positive. When I got the text message and the email about my results, I was at home on my lunch break. You know, I don't live far from my job, so I usually come home, have my lunch, you know, to save money, and then I go back to work afterwards. But I was at home, eating my lunch, and I literally just sat and stared at my phone for like 5 minutes, logging in, logging out, logging in, logging out, hoping it was a glitch in the system, and it wasn't. So I immediately text my manager. I'm like, hey, I just got my results back. They're positive. I can clock out from my phone, but I just, you know, like I wanted to tell them. And they understood it, and they immediately told me everything would be okay. And that I could come back once I felt better, but I didn't feel like weird or anything. I didn't feel weird at that point. Like, I think those 3 or 4 days during the week of Thanksgiving, like those are like my only symptoms, because the day after Thanksgiving, like I felt regular. I felt like my regular self again. And what I didn't understand was, how am I taking all these health supplements and still getting sick? You know, like I take women's one, I take one of these every day, I take 2 of these every day, I take 2 of these every day, I take 2 of these every day, in addition to moringa and spirulina daily. So by me taking all these supplements and being as active as I am, like I'm not a lazy person at all. Like I'm very fit, very healthy. I didn't understand how I got sick, you know. But what I came to realize was that supplements don't necessarily prevent you from being sick, but what they do is they prevent your symptoms from being as bad as they could be. Now, me myself, I have iron deficiency anemia, so I'm more susceptible to contracting the coronavirus than the average person. So I believe that by me taking these supplements, and I've been taking these supplements for months, like I didn't just start, like when the pandemic hit, like I immediately started working on my immune system, because the news and media always told us to stay inside and to wear face masks, but they didn't tell us how to increase our immune systems so that we could fight off this viral infection. So I did some research, and these are the supplements that I began taking. I do believe that if I wasn't as active as I am physically, and if I didn't take these supplements on a daily basis, I honestly believe that my symptoms could have been so much worse, and it could have lasted so much longer. Now, I'm not sure if I caught it from my roommate and her having strep throat. I'm not sure where I got it from, because at this point, I literally just go to work and go home. I rarely go out to social outings. I may go to the grocery store here or there, but like I'm always wearing like a face mask. I'm always like doing my best to protect myself. I'm not really sure where I got it from, but I do know that after I tested positive and everyone else at my job had their results come in, nobody else was positive. But I did have to, like, you know, stay home or whatever. I got my results back on the 8th, and on the 10th, I got a phone call from the health department. And I usually don't answer unknown phone calls, but I'm a model and an actress. So when I see unknown calls, like I just assume it's somebody calling me for a gig, you know, like it's not like, oh, it's a telemarketer. Like I've changed my phone number a couple times since I've been out here in LA. So only select people have my phone number. So if it's an unknown phone number calling me, like I'ma assume that it's about some business, you know. But it was the health department. When they told me who it was, I was so scared, because I was like, oh my God, they about to send some people in to come get me. They about to make me get the vaccination. They about to send me to the hospital. Every like Worst case scenario just went through my head when they told me who they were when they called. But it was a pretty simple conversation. It wasn't anything too crazy. They just asked me like who I had been around 2 weeks prior to me getting tested, if I had come in contact with anyone else, if I was working, and then they asked for my work information so that they can notify my employer that I had COVID. They asked me what my symptoms were. They asked me if I knew where I got it from. They asked me if I had come in contact with anyone else since I had got my positive results. They asked me if I felt like I needed any hospital care. And they even offered to like reach out to people if I had come in contact with them. But again, like I hadn't really been in contact with anyone like that, so I didn't have like any information to give them. Then they told me that I had to quarantine for 10 days by myself. So I can't go out, I can't be within 6 feet of people, I have to always wear a mask, and you know, pretty much how things were when the lockdown first began in March. I was like, oh my God, like I just started having like, you know, all these thoughts in my head. And then out of nowhere, my grandma texted me and she was just like, hey, how you doing? How's everything? And I'm just like, her timing is impeccable. So I was like, hey grandma. Oh, you know, nothing, just tested positive for the coronavirus. And she's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, like I don't really have any symptoms. But the truth was I didn't have any symptoms then. I had my symptoms 2 weeks ago, but I didn't realize that it was the coronavirus. So then I get a text from my uncle, and he's just like, hey, I just found out you're still quarantining with COVID. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Just for me to have that support from people just made me feel that much better, you know, because when I first got them results, like I started freaking out. Like that night when I went to bed, I'm like, am I gonna wake up in the morning, you know? But just to know that I had the support of people who cared about me made me feel a little bit better. My roommates were asking me if they could do anything for me. My co-workers reached out to me when they found out, hey, are you okay? How are you feeling? And just to have everybody check on me just made me feel like supported and cared about. Like I can't go out like this, you know, people depending on me, you know, people depending on me to be there, to see them, to talk to them, to interact with them, to share my energy with them. Like I can't just go down and out like this by no Rona. I've been feeling good, you know, I've been feeling good. It's day 7, I've been feeling straight. I pretty much just stay in my room all day. I've been intermittent fasting, so I pretty much just eat like once a day, but I eat a lot during that one period of the day. I ran out of groceries, so I just ordered some groceries on Amazon Fresh, because if you have Amazon Prime, you can get your groceries delivered for free. And it's contactless. I'm gonna get, you know, my groceries delivered to me. And I've been cooking all of my meals. I haven't ordered out just because I don't want to risk like passing it on to somebody else. So I've been cooking all of my meals, sanitizing everything that I use, you know, I sanitize everything I touch, so the counters, the stove, I sanitize everything in the bathroom that I touch, just in case. Pretty much just staying like 6 feet away from my roommates. I'm just thankful, I'm blessed, because it could have been so much worse. Like my lungs could have collapsed. Like I could have been like just in a hospital, you know, like, which is the last place I want to be right now. I don't know how I contracted it. And the crazy thing is, like, when I had to tell my roommates that I had the coronavirus, I was so freaking nervous, because if one of my roommates had told me that they had the coronavirus, I would have been like, nah, you gotta go. You gotta get out. You can't be here. I don't know where you gonna go, but you can stay here. But when I was at their mercy and she was on the other foot and I was the one who had to tell them that I had it, I was hoping they wasn't gonna freak out a lot. And they didn't. I called everybody into the living room, like, hey, I have an announcement. And I literally almost cried because I was just so scared of like their reactions, because I know how I would have reacted. Told them, a couple of them said they were going to get tested. So I'm still quarantining. Like today, okay, so I got tested on the 5th and today is the 12th. So that is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So today is like day 7. Today is day 7. And I have 3 more days to be in quarantine before I can go back to work and go back to living my normal life. I just want to encourage everybody to go get tested. You know, if you don't want to do the nasal swab, go get the mouth swab. I just wanted to put myself out there so that if anybody does look like me, they can feel some sense of comfort in knowing that they're not alone. Everybody doesn't have a good support system, and some people don't have a support system at all. We all in this together, but stay 6 feet away from me.